Not a giant with armor and a spear, but a problem that feels just as intimidating. A financial burden that keeps you awake at night. A health diagnosis you never saw coming. A broken relationship you don't know how to fix. Or that quiet, relentless voice telling you you're not strong enough, smart enough, or brave enough. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not without hope. Because one of the most enduring stories ever told, the story of David and Goliath, was never just about a boy and a battlefield. It was always about how ordinary people confront overwhelming odds and win. David was a shepherd, not a warrior, not trained for battle, not even taken seriously by his own family. While the armies of Israel stood frozen in fear, day after day listening to Goliath's insults, David saw something different. Everyone else saw a giant too big to defeat. David saw a giant too big to miss. That difference in perspective changed everything. Goliath represented raw power size, strength, intimidation. He was loud, confident, certain of victory before the fight even began. And that's how giants work. They don't just stand in your way. They try to convince you that resistance is pointless. Fear does that. Doubt does that. Shame does that. They shout until you believe the battle is already lost. But David didn't measure the situation by what he saw in front of him. He measured it by what he remembered behind him. He remembered the lion. He remembered the bear. He remembered the quiet moments when no one was watching, when God showed up in ordinary faithfulness. That's the part of the story we often overlook. David's victory didn't start on the battlefield. It started long before alone in the fields. And that's a powerful reminder for us today. The battles you face right now didn't appear out of nowhere. You've been preparing for them, even if you didn't realize it. Every hard season you survived, every setback you endured, every moment you thought you wouldn't make it, but did. Those were your lions and bears. When David volunteered to face Goliath, King Saul tried to dress him in armor. Heavy, impressive, designed for someone else. David tried it on, then took it off. Why? Because he knew something critical. You cannot fight your battles wearing someone else's strength. And that's another giant many people face today, the pressure to compare. To fight like others fight. To live like others live. To measure success by standards that were never meant for you. David chose what he knew. A sling, a stone, faith, not flashy, not intimidating, but effective. Sometimes the thing God uses most powerfully in your life is the very thing you have been tempted to dismiss as too small. Let's be clear. David wasn't fearless. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means refusing to let fear make your decisions. David didn't deny the danger. He simply trusted God more than the threat. And that's where faith becomes real, not when the odds are good, but when they're stacked against you. Today's giants may not wear armor, but they are just as real. Anxiety that tightens your chest. Addiction that keeps pulling you back. A past mistake that won't let you move forward. A world that feels louder, harsher, and more divided than ever. And just like Goliath, these giants love to remind you how big they are. But here's the truth. Your giant doesn't determine your destiny. Your response does. David stepped forward when everyone else stepped back. One step, one stone. One moment of obedience. And when that stone flew, the giant fell not because David was powerful, but because God was faithful. That same faithfulness still exists today. The same God who strengthened a shepherd boy still strengthens people who feel overlooked, exhausted, and outmatched. The same God who turned weakness into victory is still at work in lives that feel broken or stuck. You may not feel ready. You may not feel strong. You may not feel confident. But David teaches us something vital. You don't wait until you feel ready. You move forward, trusting God will meet you there. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. What giant have you been avoiding? What fear has been controlling your decisions? What challenge have you convinced yourself is too big? Maybe it's time to stop rehearsing how powerful the giant is and start remembering how faithful God has been. Because the story of David and Goliath isn't about ancient history. It's about now. It's about you. And it's about the truth that no matter how impossible the odds seem, faith, courage, and obedience can still bring giants to their knees. And your giant? It may be standing tall today, but it won't stand forever.